While Mario and Sonic used to be enemies in the older days, today they're rather buddies than enemies. Either way, they both have something in common. Both of them are granddads in the modern console world. While Mario was introduced sometime at the beginning of the 80s under the genius name Jumpman, where he was going after Donkey Kong with an uber-huge hammer, Sonic took over 10 years longer to discover the light of the monitors. But he's still an ancient character. He had a double debut in 1991, with his first game on two consoles, the Master System and Genesis. Both games were called Sonic the Hedgehog. If you think about it, it ain't any more sensible than Jumpman, since it's Sonic the Hedgehog. He could just as well put out a game named Sausage the Gold Hamster. Ah, dude, I want some of that stuff too the developers were smoking in the old days. Anyhow, this here's the Master System version of the game. And if somebody might not know, the Master System is Sega's 8-bits console to Nintendo's NES system. So this is totally retro. Also, I've got a little side note. It's the same here what I was stating in the Metroid test before. This game normally runs with 60 frames, but my video data only transmits 30 frames. And since every second frame is missing, flickering effects won't be clearly visible. A flickering object is either completely visible or not. You can see that at the shield Sonic's having here. This game already brings down many of the classic elements, which belong to the Sonic series. Normally, developers used to epically fail when they are partly copying a successful game or character. But in this case, Sega did rather well of coming up with a proper opponent for the plumber. So it comes that the Sonic games also contain many traditional elements, just as Mario games do. Just a side information. Fanciers know it just as well, but know to switch over to some information for the ones who don't already know. Sonic is a blue hedgehog, which is very hard to tell from the game title. He can run at the speed of sound, and so you're running through the striking levels. Sometimes more and sometimes less fast, collecting power-ups by destroying monitors, beating up a lot of riffraff, and at the end of each area messing with a damn hard final boss in form of Dr. Robotnik. Well, it's classic jump and run. You've got to be honest and say that there are many similarities to Mario games, but at least there are also proper differences. While Mario needs to jump on enemies to kill them, Sonic has to hit them in any way while jumping or rolling. Since then he is curled up and so his spikes are terrorizing his enemies. So jumping and rolling is your only way of attacking in this game. As Mario's collecting coins, here you're collecting rings. And as it is with the plumber getting a life for 100 coins, it's exactly the same thing here with 100 rings. But that's not all, since those rings are not only increasing your number of lives, you could also say they're life protectors. As long as you carry at least one ring, you will not die when being hit by an enemy. You will only lose all of your rings. Except for if you jump into spikes or a golf. You wouldn't even survive this with 1,000 rings. When having completed a regular level, you're passing a sign which then spins and shows something to you. According to what it will show then, you will receive either nothing, or a few rings, which is very helpful when already having finished the level, or a bonus life, or you can enter a bonus level, where again you can go for rings or lives. That's so far the content of the game. This really is the jump and run itself, since you won't do anything but jumping and running in this game. Concerning a few elements, this software is even somewhat more old school than Mario games from the same time period. So, all of the 2D Sonic games have this timer, which always lets you croak after 10 minutes, if you still didn't have completed the level. Besides the first one, no Mario game had this crap. This is more than retro, since nobody normally needs more than 10 minutes for getting through a level. If people didn't get to manage the level, it's not because of too little time, but because they used to lose all of their lives at a certain place and then have to start over. There is no save option. As you have to do with most of the games of this type and time, you need to go through the entire piece in one run, which is a goddamn pain in the ass. But we can be glad that today we're blessed with emulators, with real-time saving options. But sadly we do have to neglect that, according to the test, and so this game can become a million times more frustrating than any plumber game. Honestly, I wouldn't want to deal with that, because also the control cross of the original Master System controller is something like a bad joke. The presentation of the game is pretty much the same as with old Mario software. In my eyes, they didn't do the game a favor with this start screen. Mario games used to be a little more decent, but this start screen with the Hedgehog and his stupid pose seems like you want to say, "Hello kids, I am Sonic the Hedgehog and I am going to defeat the bad guys." A story is not explained. It begins right after the start screen. You're finishing level after level. You mess a few times with the Robotnik just to beat him up at the end. When this is done, you'll see a rather mundane final balance of your efforts, and there are some cute little credits with a wannabe superstar Sonic. Concerning the function or effect of the Chaos Emeralds, I don't have a foggy idea about that. And no, I will not waste my lifetime by trying to find them all to find out. I had to experience too many times that you either get nothing or not enough for spending much of time to achieve a certain goal in a game. I seriously think it would be the same here, since, let's be honest, it's also not a such appealing game we have here. The rest pretty much self-explains. Independent to the design of the actual Master System controller, the program controls of this game are very proper. You won't have any problems and everything is going rather sleeky. The game contains many really evil jumping passages, but since you'll always be able to have proper control over Sonic, frustration is rare and everything seems fair. The only very evil things are the underwater controls, which are the total rape of your nerves, while these are at least intentional from Sega. That is why almost every gamer hates the freaking underwater levels, especially the ones in the Sonic games. All of the agility in this game is going to waste in those levels, and Sonic is moving like he did a pharmacy raid. In so many ways, this game is staying on the same level as most other 8-bit games, but at least concerning the visuals, it is standing a little higher. The old 8-bit consoles were only able to show a minimum of colors at the same time, but Sega was using these few colors the best way here. You hardly see the heavy technical limits here, different to many other games in the 8-bit world. The levels are looking pretty fine too, and not to forget the sweet little map screens. Everything is looking nice for this hardware. In audible means, the game is alright. Nothing's really positive or negative. So, this old cartridge doesn't honestly offer the same level of retro classic stuff as the old Mario games, but it's still classic as well. Still, it's the same as what I said about the previously tested Kirby game. It's alright to play this game around one time a year, but that is it. As so much of the 8-bit software, it just doesn't offer enough for being played more often in a time of epic 3-dimensional long-lasting battles and adventures. Graphics and sound are appropriate for its hardware, but the gameplay doesn't offer really more than a round on the board of sorry. And when you've got a bit of skill in a saving function, it doesn't even last longer. And so, this classic game has to acquiesce that in the best case it is on a par with a load of free web games and game apps there are today. It's a mad thing when you think about that every meaningless but modern little gadget with a screen would easily be able to operate such games. Would be an awesome thing if there would be a multi-emulator which could emulate every old game for every console and would be downloadable for every modern gadget. When you think about the numbers, that modern multimedia gadgets have loads of gigabytes and old 8 and 16-bit games only need between 1 and 4 megabytes but no mentionable processor power but still offer quite some fun and entertainment, we have reached a golden time concerning gaming. A billion of good old games, which are entertaining quite well for some time, but don't need any special hardware that most of the people don't already have at home. It's an awesome world. And yes, I know that you would need to think about many copyright aspects there, but that's the work of other people. Nitpicking isn't my territory.